Hey Coach, it's Coach Simpson. Appreciate you tuning in my YouTube channel. This has been a kind of series of videos. This is the third one. General head coaching 101 knowledge, things that I learned the hard way, and maybe I can spare you a little bit of difficulty if you'll pick up on this. I've written a couple books geared towards guys wanting to get in this world. They're all on my website, fbcoachsimpson.com. One of the books is called Find a Way. It's the first book I put out, and in it, I read a chapter about delegating, learning how to delegate. My father is a retired military colonel, and he told me this. I think he told me as a joke, but it always stuck with me. He says the 3 D's of the military are to decide, to delegate, and then depart. Of course, for him, militarily, kind of a joke. But I kind of dug into that a little bit, and I went, there's something kind of to this. As a leader, I was horrible early on in my career of micromanaging everything and trying to do everything. So I had a staff of 8 good coaches that I didn't use to what they could be because they all looked at me doing everything and didn't know how to handle that. Do they do it and worry about upsetting me? And on the other side of the fence, I'm over there saying, why are these guys not doing anything? Well, I didn't do a good job of delegating responsibilities. Delegating doesn't mean just dumping jobs you don't want. It doesn't mean we got to feed our football team, you're in charge of that. Okay, do whatever you want. That's not delegating. You are dumping a job on somebody. But the true art of delegating in my mind is to take a younger coach, or to take, it could be older, but younger as far as position on the staff, to teach them what you expect, what you want done, give them a little bit of freedom to do their own flavor, and then allow them to grow. So for instance, maybe you have an offensive line coach. Here's our core beliefs. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what must be done. Now, you come back to me with how you expect to do this. We'll talk about it together. You got it. Okay? And maybe taking a young coach is learning how to watch film or break down an opponent. Here's our core beliefs. Here's what we're going to do. Go do this, bring it back, and let's go through this together. Ton of work on the front end. It's very, very, very difficult. It's not fun. It takes a lot of time. But once your coaches understand the expectations, they understand what you want them to do, and they understand you're going to allow them to think on their own feet, it allows people to go through and figure out what needs to be done. And now you have people that aren't just doing what you tell them to do, but they're people that are invested in your program. The same thing comes with players. I think you figure out ways you can delegate smaller responsibilities to players. Here's a couple quick examples. Pull a senior aside and say, hey, so-and-so's having a real hard time. Do you mind going and just kind of helping him out a little bit? And giving him that ownership of a little bit of leadership. Allowing him to go work a little bit with that player. You've now started to grow your leader. Hey, here's some things you might want to talk to him about, blah, blah, blah. Hey, be cool with him. I'm not asking you to go get on a guy. Teaching him a little bit of leadership skills. We do the same thing with we're going to run the drill. We've run the last 5 weeks in a row. Johnny, you're up front. Why don't you coach our guys through this? Explain to him what we're supposed to be doing. And allowing your senior to now coach up the younger one. I love it when we bring the junior high kids around or the youth kids around and they watch the senior high kids gain a little bit of leadership, and I ask them, hey, explain to them what we're doing. 1, obviously you're figuring out if your kids know it. 2, you're making sure that they are now investing in your program. And that's the idea of delegating. It's not dumping jobs you don't want. Okay? It's working with people to grow leaders. And if you do it correctly, you create a lot of buy-in from your staff. If you don't delegate, or you delegate the old school way of somebody got to do laundry, you're not going to create what you want. You're going to create resentment, and you're going to create a lot more work for yourself. Hopefully, maybe you can avoid a few of the things that I had to come. This took me a long time to figure out, by the way. There's a lot of years of being very frustrated and upset, and then when this started to happen, I started to realize, why didn't I do this a long time ago? Maybe it'll help you in your program.